Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Music Talks podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about music from the past and present and the main destination for you to find new music. My name is Noah, and today we are going to be doing our first album analysis. This is going to be the main vocal point for the podcast. It's just reviewing albums and just giving you my opinion and give some background information about the album and songs. The first album we're doing today is my number one favorite album. It's going to be Sweetener by Ariana Grande. It's her fourth studio album, released on August 17th of 2018. It was mainly a pop R&B trap record, recorded between July 2016 and May of 2018. We are going to be covering 15 songs today. It's a little over 47 minutes long, and the album was supported by 3 singles. So just to give like a little overview, I'll do a track breakdown, going through every track and just give my opinion about each track, and then I'm going to do some background information, give some additional facts, and then you have some additional songs that did not quite make the album. And then we're going to rereading some of your submissions, because I did send out a survey asking you to rate and tell me about your opinions on Sweetener, and I'm going to read some of those, and then at the end I'll give my final thoughts. So if you're ready, I'm ready. So this was the first album that I listened to that I was waiting for. When I first found Ariana, I watched her on Victorious. I was a huge Victorious fan, and I didn't really start getting into her music until about 2015, 2016. So this was the first time I actually was anticipating an album to come out. I was very, very excited. She talks about in this album a lot of themes. It's very mature. She talks about romance, sexual intimacy, unhealthy relationships. She talks about womanhood, focuses on anxiety and perseverance through hardships. A lot of deep themes and overall lyrical content for it. Really do like that she did go deep for this album. It shows a maturity side and also a side of her that she's not afraid to talk about. As I said, it's 15 tracks. There is no deluxe version, which I think to date it's her only album to not have a deluxe version with additional songs, even though I really kind of wish we did have a deluxe version. The first track is Raindrops and Angel Cried. It's considered the intro track to the album. It's all a cappella, no instrumentals, no beats. It's her voice. I really like the opening. It's one of my favorite openings from her. It's a beautiful showcase of her vocals, and I think from looking in facts, she did say in a Jimmy Fallon interview that the song was actually a cover from a song back from, I think, the 60s. It was performed by Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. I remember she told the story about how, I think it was her grandpa knew them, and so it kind of had a connection back to family. So I really like that. Again, I could be wrong, but I think that's from what I remember her saying for the interview. But yeah, she was recorded it so it's considered a cover. And it's a really beautiful. It's one of my favorites on the album, and I actually have nothing bad to say about it. So track number 2, we have Blazed, and this was featuring Pharrell Williams. This is the controversy about this album was his productions of what he wanted for the sound. It takes a few listens to get into it. It does have a groovy vibe to it. She does use more of her lower vocal range. She's not hitting the high notes. It's has funky. I considered it to be like funk music. It wasn't my originally a favorite of mine. It was more of a, this is not as good as the other ones were. It's an okay track. I like it. It just takes a few listens for me to click, because I think what it was is I'm not used to this sound from her. So it took a little bit of time to be able to get into it and actually appreciate it for what it is. Track number 3, we're moving on to The Light Is Coming, and this is featuring Nicki Minaj. This is technically their fourth time collaborating. I liked the song. It's not my favorite. I will say it's my least favorite, actually. It has a thumping production sound, has a bass. It does contain a snippet from a famous CNN clip. I had never heard of it before. It's an okay track. It's not one of my favorites on it, but it's an okay track. Track number 4, we move into R.E.M. or R.E.M. It's a 4-minute song. It's kind of a ballad. It doesn't have a piano though, but it's a slow song. It has a very soft production, and the lyrics to me are dreamy. It really showcases her lower register very well. It's a nice chill vibe. It kind of gets back into more of what how she sounded on her previous albums. I like it. It's not a favorite, but I still listen to it from time to time. It's a good song. Now, number 5, we have God Is a Woman. Let me tell you, let me say this about God Is a Woman. This is probably one of my all-time favorite songs from her. The production is outstanding. It's fantastic. Has a very powerful bass line, and I'm a huge bass type of person. I love to hear bass in any kind of song. If my ears rattle, it's a good song. Her vocal ability in it is very powerful. Hits high notes. Goes up in the falsetto and head voice really high. And the song essentially is more about female empowerment. And she did say in a Zach Singh interview that she did that it was centered around a female empowerment. And the video, I think, is one of the more visually stunning music videos out there. The visuals and effects in it are absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorites. Fun fact, I think it's my most listened to song. I think I've listened to it about over 600 times. Yeah. So, that's like the most viewed song I've ever have. Next, we move into Sweetener, which is the title track. I liked it. It was a grower, but it's one of my kind of little favorites on the album. It has such a bouncy production, and the way that she talks in it or sings over it, it's fun. I like it. I think this song gets a lot of hate because it is a Pharrell produced song, but I think it's one of the better sounding ones from Pharrell that I got on my first listen. Next, track 7, we have Successful. There's not really much to say about this track. It's groovy. That's basically all the notes that I have down for it. I just put groovy because it's groovy, nice vocals. It was a okay song. Track number 8, we have Everytime. This was more of a return to the usual production style that we are used to hearing from her. Her vocals, powerful vocals on it, and it brings back more of her classic stuff. It reminds me of Dangerous Woman a lot. Some of the production styles on there is very, very reminiscent. This was one of my I liked it on my initial listen. I really did like it. Breathin is one of my favorites from the album. I think production wise it's the best sounding one. Her vocals on it are very gorgeous, and this is one of the ones where she gets very descriptive in the lyrics. She talks about her anxiety journey and the side effects of how it is to have anxiety, so people that deal with it could very much relate to it. I really, really, really loved it. It's one of my favorites. It's actually my top 3 from the album. It's definitely up there at the top. Next, we have No Tears Left to Cry. It was the lead single released. Basically in the top 3 of mine as well. Great production. Love the vocals. Love the lyrics of it. I like that she did pay tribute in the music video to Manchester and the victims of the awful bombing that happened there. It was a very nice tribute, and this is kind of considered her comeback single. I don't really say technically call it a comeback because she didn't really have a failed. My definition of like comeback would be if you've had like a very critical failure or had a hard time getting your audience back, and a comeback single makes your audience come back. So I'd say this was like a return, or her I've arrived. Track number 11, we have Borderline featuring Missy Elliott. This was a kind of a shock to hear that she collaborated with Missy Elliott for it. It was just a little surprising. Nothing really to the track point stood out to me. It's not a good song, but it's not a bad song. It's one of those in the middle where if it came on the album, I'd hear it, you know. Track number 12, we have Better Off. This was more of the slower songs on the album. She really showcased her lower register on this track as well. She kind of got a little explicit on it, talking about like fucking on the roof and having the sex out in the open. I like that. Okay, that sounds bad that, I like fucking on the roof. I don't like doing that, but I like that she's opening up and showing more of her mature side of like, I'm a grown woman, I can talk about what I want. So this is track number 13, Goodnight and Go. This was technically a cover song by, I think it was by Imogen Heap, if I'm staying correct, and I think that's who that's by. Yeah, Imogen Heap. Got the name right. Look at my brain. This was a song that she covered, but she did add a few additional lyrics to it. So it's a cover with some extra lyrics added to the song. I love the production on it. It's very dreamy. It makes you kind of float in the air a little bit. Her falsetto in his songs very gorgeous toward the middle and end. To me, it's one of the better sounding songs production wise and vocally. It's one of the better songs on the album that I liked on my initial listen. Track number 14, we have Pete Davidson, and I considered it an interlude. It's very repetitive. Could go a little longer. It is a little over a minute long. It's like a minute and 13 seconds. And obviously the song's dedicated to Pete Davidson, who she was dating, which ended up being engaged and then later divorcing during this era. She really dedicated a song to him. I think it's an okay song. It didn't really turn out well in the end, but you know, for the time being, at the time, it made sense. I don't listen to it often, but when it does come on, I don't skip it. So track number 15, which is the last track on this album, we have Get Well Soon. It is the closing track, and she dedicated this song to the victims of the Manchester bombing. The last 45 seconds of the song is a moment of silence, to where it does, the track length ends in 5 minutes and 22 seconds, which correlates to May 22nd. I like that she really paid tribute to them. I didn't add it on my notes, but I like her vocally on there. While it does get repetitive, I don't mind the repetitiveness in it. And I thought the moment of silence was a very, very nice touch to the song. It gave more of a realness to the song. So I really, really, really liked it. It was one of my songs that I liked on my initial listen. So, as most singers do, there were, and I'm not kidding you, 31 cut songs. Yeah, you heard that right. There was 31 songs, and of course there could be more, but there were a lot of songs that were recorded and either were not released. So the songs that I'm about to list are songs that have either been speculated, they're unreleased, they've been leaked, or they've been officially released but not by the artist. So these are just songs that did not make the list, and it's a little long, but I'll go through it. So we have 100, Bad to You, Clarity, Clouds, Cocoon, Daydream on Occasion, End Up With You, Ever Been, Got Her Own, Hate That You Love Me, Love You, I Don't Wanna Lie, I Love Me, Keep It Cute, Man Up Still, More, My Way, Nobody, Okay Now, One in a Million, which on the platform that I saw, it could also be possibly titled Closer, so it's either called Closer or Closer and or One in a Million. It's one of those two. On Top of Everything, Pretty Girls Like Trap Music, Rush Delivery, Sex, Snack, Sober, South Africa, Strong Enough, Sweetener, Flourish, Treadmill, Wifey, and You. I have heard You, and honestly, if I'm being completely honest, either I can't really determine like what song on the album, but there could be a song on the album that You could replace. I I heard it because it got leaked. Of course, her music's notorious to getting leaked all the time. But I have not heard all of these songs. I think I've heard parts of Sex, and I've heard You. Let me see. I think that's all I've actually heard from this, like that has been unreleased. Um, as always, the album was a critical and commercial success. The 3 singles all did very well in the charts. No Tears Left to Cry debuted / peaked at number 3. God is a Woman initially went to number 13, and then after a performance at the VMAs, it actually went and peaked at number 8. And then Breathin debuted at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. And of course, all 3 songs did appear on the Billboard Hot 100 year-end list for 2018 and 2019. Breathin occurred on 2019. No Tears Left to Cry and God is a Woman appeared on the 2018 year-end list. Some additional songs also did make the charts. I think they all debuted in the top 80 or 90. Not all the songs charted, but there were a good bit that did appear on it. The album appeared on many Best of the Year lists, End of the Year lists. Pitchfork and Billboard Billboard said that it was technically the number 1 best album of 2018. Entertainment Weekly put it at number 3 for their 20 best albums of 2018. Rolling Stone named it the 2nd best pop album of 2018, as well as being the number 5 best album of 2018. Pitchfork listed it on one of their year-end lists at number 100 of 200 best albums of the 2010s. And it has shown a huge legacy for pop artists to introduce and embrace the trap music scene and actually showcase trap in some of their more pop sounds. So a lot more artists are actually showcasing trap in the songs now, and she was kind of the first main pop artist to do that, and it's been highly appraised. Sweetener was released to universal critical acclaim. People loved the rawness of the album, her vocals, and the production standpoint of it. I really like this era a lot. It's one of my favorite eras from her. She did hold a Sweetener experience, which was an art exhibit where fans could walk around 15 rooms designed after every song on the album. She held a mini concert tour called the Sweetener Sessions, where she performed in concert in places like Chicago, Los Angeles. She also did one in New York, as well as over in London. She did a multiple promotion standpoint. She performed at the Billboard Awards. She performed at the VMAs. She did multiple talk shows. She promoted it on Ellen. She sang Breathin' on Ellen. She did a promotion for the album on Jimmy Fallon. She also did a world tour for the Sweetener World Tour, as well with the album Thank You Next. Show ran from March 18th of 2019 till December 22nd of the same year. And honestly, I think that's about all I have facts-wise for the album. She started recording it back in July of 2016, and the first song recorded for the album was Sweetener, the title track. So I thought that was really, really cool. It's, I think, the only album that doesn't have a deluxe adaptation of it. So now what I want to do is go and read some of your guys' opinions and views of the album. I did reach out to everyone on social media and asked you to fill out the survey for the Sweetener album, and I got 9 responses for it, and I'm going to read them right now. So I had you fill out the survey. I told everyone that, of course, all submissions are anonymous, so no one's gonna know who you are, so you can be honest. The questions consisted of: have you heard of Sweetener? What are your favorite and least favorite songs? Your rating of the album, and some additional thoughts that you have for Sweetener. So the first person that I have, they said that they had heard Sweetener. Their favorite song was all of them. They did not have a least favorite. They rated the album 10 out of 10, and they claimed that it's one of their greatest albums ever. It's absolutely one of my favorite albums from her. I really, really love it. It's very nice to hear an album that's so timeless. I love it. The next person has heard Sweetener. Their favorite song was Every Time, and their least favorite song was Blazed. I tend to agree Blazed is not one of the more favorites on the album, so I agree with that, and Every Time's one of my favorites on there as well. They ranked it 8 out of 10, and their thoughts were, they said almost Ariana's best album if it wasn't for Thank You Next and Eternal Sunshine, Brighter Days Ahead, but they did add that it was an amazing album altogether. The next person has said that they had heard Sweetener. Their favorite song is R.E.M, and their least favorite song was Blazed. They rated it at 8 out of 10, and they didn't have any additional thoughts about the album. Next person said that they had heard Sweetener. Some of their favorite songs included Raindrops, R.E.M, and Breathin. I like those as well. They did not have any least favorite songs. They did not rate the album, but I would probably say they probably would rate it an 8 or 9, possibly a 10. And their additional thoughts said, a Childish Gambino feature would have done wonders on any of the songs. I don't know, maybe on one of the more trap sounding songs. The Pharrell ones, I don't know about that. But that's just my opinion. This person said, yes, that they have heard Sweetener. Their favorite songs are Every Time and Goodnight and Go. And their least favorite was Get Well Soon. That's surprising. I tend to think people like that a lot. They rated the album a 9 out of 10, and they said that they think The Light Is Coming and Blazed are the more underrated songs. Blazed, I would say. Light Is Coming, I don't think so. Okay, so this person said that they have heard Sweetener. Their favorite and least favorite song, they listed Thank You Next songs. So if this was a Thank You Next album, I would say that. They rated the Sweetener 7 out of 10, and they said that it was very soothing and relaxing. Next we have someone that has heard Sweetener, so they say that they did. Their favorite songs are R.E.M, God Is a Woman, The Light Is Coming, Sweetener, and Successful. They said their least favorite songs were Breathin and No Tears Left to Cry. Ooh, you're going to get so much hate for that, and I'm going to be one of those haters. How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. Everyone has an opinion. They're allowed to their opinion. They rated it 8 out of 10, and their initial thoughts were, thoroughly enjoyed the album. However, nothing will compare to her Thank You Next album, hands down the best she's ever created. Next, they have heard Sweetener. Their favorite songs on it were God Is a Woman and No Tears Left to Cry, and their least favorite song was Blazed. They rated it a 10 out of 10 and did not have any additional thoughts about the album. And lastly, our last person has heard Sweetener. Their favorite song is Sweetener, the title track. Their least favorite song is No Tears Left to Cry. they rated it an 8 out of 10, and they also did not have any additional thoughts. So that is all the responses that I got, and of course, thank you to everyone that did take the time to sit down and take the survey. I really do appreciate it. So for my closing thoughts for Sweetener, I'll be honest, when I first heard it, it wasn't my favorite. It was not my favorite album from her. However, I went through a very traumatic mental health episode starting in 2020, and this album helped me get through that troubling time. So I consider this album the album that saved me. It's my number one album, and I wanted this first episode of the album series to be this one because you have to put respect for the album, or in my eyes, it's very respected to me. It will forever be my number one. Nothing will ever top it. It's hands down one of her best albums I think she's ever produced. The aesthetic of the everything from the music videos to the clothing to the style and everything was just absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that I was actually able to be a part of it, because it was a journey, but it was a great journey. Ariana's never going to listen to this, but genuinely thank you for making this album, because this is such a great album. I love it so much. It's helped me so much, and it continues to help. And I really do appreciate you for making this album. But yeah, that was Sweetener by Ariana Grande. Actually went a little quicker than I thought, which I'm not complaining. I always like to try to make my episodes reach the 20-minute mark, and we almost are reaching 30. So, perfect timing. If you want to, you are more than welcome to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Music Talks. Well, TikTok and them have different usernames because social media wants to be a butt. So, for Instagram, it's going to be a long title because it was the only one that they had. You can follow me at Official Music Talks Podcast on Instagram. The TikTok, if you want to follow me on there, it's just Music Talks _. You can follow me on there, and I'll be posting of what kind of albums will be coming out. I'll post surveys on there. You can also follow me on my personal Instagram, The Noah Show, with 3 W's at the end, on both Instagram and TikTok. I'll also post more of the surveys on my Instagram than my personal TikTok, but as long as you follow one of those accounts, you should be able to get notified about the survey when they come out. I do have 2 other podcasts out. Southern Reads, which is a book podcast where I talk about books and only books and everything book related. If you're a huge reader, like to read books, I highly recommend you check that podcast out. And then my other podcast, Lethal Venom, is more of a variety show where I talk about anything I want with the honest truth. If you like to have more of a chaotic mess, that's more of the podcast for you. And this podcast and those 2 podcasts are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. They're on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, and now Pandora. It's on there, and there's places on other websites or other platforms as well. Basically, wherever you get your podcasts, it's there. Also, if there's any inquiries, if there's any mistakes, errors, or anything that you would like to let me know, feel free to email me at musictalkspod@gmail.com. Just make sure when you're emailing me, you're in the subject line, preface what you're saying so I know exactly what you're emailing about. And then I have a link tree, and I'll put that in the description box below so that you can find all this information about all the podcast social media links there. So, and I will put everything in the description box so you can look back at it at a later time. Do I want to tease what albums I'm doing next? I'm doing my top 3. So my next album, it's going to be, I'll give you some hints. The next album is a debut album by an artist that's very popular right now. She had a huge successful era with her first album, and it was released in 2021. And the next album is also released in 2021, and it was a very successful era for this woman. And both covers are purple. So if you have any hints as to that, be on the lookout for it. Yeah, I think that's everything that I have to say. Thank you guys so much for listening. One last thing. If you could, at the end of the podcast, whatever platform you're on, if you would take the second to either leave me a review or rate my podcast on out of 1 to 5 stars, it would really help gain traction for the podcast and help the podcast grow. Again, you don't have to do it. It's just something that gives a little boost to the podcast and helps get it out there. But as always, thank you so much for listening. I will have more albums coming soon, and I will see y'all all next time in the next episode of Music Talks.